In this lesson, we're going to look at exact angles. So what are these? Basically, they're values that you're expected to know and be able to do in your head, right? And be able to translate the two. So if I say I want to know what sine of 30 degrees is, you're expected to know it's a half. If I say cos of 30, expected to know it's root 3 over 2, and so on with these other values. And I know there looks like a lot of values here, but really it's quite there's an easy way to understand it. Some people just say memorize them. I'm not a big fan of memorizing stuff because I often just forget it. So I'm going to show you how you can know every angle on this table without having to memorize anything. So off we go. So all you're going to need to do to remember this, all those angles, is to remember these two shapes. Okay? So an equilateral triangle and a square. So in an equilateral triangle, all the angles are the same. Okay? These are all the same, right? And every triangle, there must be 180 degrees. We know that. So that must mean each angle here is 60 degrees, right? These are all equal to 60. So what I'm going to say is, what happens if we take a line right down the middle here of this triangle? So then we're left with two triangles. So this is now 90 degrees. This has been halved, and this is now 30 degrees. And what are we left with? Okay, well, we need to think about how long this line is going to be. Well, now this is a right angle triangle, and we know that half of 2 is going to be 1, so this is going to be a length of 1 now, right? So this triangle here, I might even just draw the whole thing in red just to demonstrate my point. Perfect. Okay. So this is 1. So what's this going to be? Well, it's a right angled triangle. So we know this side is going to be equal to the hypotenuse square minus that. This is going to be square root of 2 squared minus 1 squared. This is going to be equal to root 3. That becomes root 3. Okay. And then over here, what I want you to do is draw a diagonal line between these two corners, and then you're left with 1 and 1. Okay, and that would have been 90 degrees. And obviously this is then half, so this is going to be 45. That's going to be 45, and that's still going to be 90. And again, this side will be the sum of these two squared. So using Pythagoras, 1 squared plus 1 squared is equal to root 2. So this is just going to be root 2. Okay, so how does this actually help me? Well, it helps you because you are able to use your trigonometry rules to figure it out. So if you remember SOHCAHTOA, CAHTOA, right? So if I said to you, okay, I want to know what sine of 60 is, well, I'd go over here and I'd say, okay, well, where are my 60 degrees? Okay, so 60 degrees is in this triangle here. I know that sine is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. So okay, so what's opposite 60 degrees? Okay, it's root 3, and the hypotenuse is 2. So sine 60 equal to root 3 over 2. What if I said sine 30? Well, that would be equal to still opposite over hypotenuse, so that's equal to 1 over 2. And so on for all these different angles, okay? What else do we need to know? Yes, so that obviously works for things like 60 degrees, 90 degrees, 30 degrees. But what about these other angles that we need to know? Well, you should be able to remember you should know these graphs off by heart, the cos and the sine graph. You should just know them intuitively back to front. And basically, you know that for a sine graph, it starts at 0, it's also 0 at 180, and it's 0 at 360. So if I said to you what sine of 0 is, you know it's 0. But for cos, over here, cos of 0, that's equal to 1, okay? Because we know it starts at 1. And all along here, there's different values for each point. And the best way to know this is just know the graph. Don't worry about trying to memorize it, just know the graph. So yeah, again, and the maximum and the minimum, we know that maximum happens at 90 degrees 270 degrees is the minimum, and so on and so forth. And also, you need to be able to work with these in radians. I haven't shown the radians examples here, but if I said to you, okay, what is sine pi over 2? Okay, well, I know that pi over 2 is going to be the same as 90 degrees. I know that 90 degrees is the maximum, so that's going to be 1. You could also think about, the radians here, that's going to be pi, that's pi over 2, that'll be 3 pi over 2, and that'll be 2 pi. Okay, so you'll get used to them the more you use them, but for now it might seem a little bit foreign. Anyway, let's do some examples. Okay, so what about the sine 60? So 60 is going to be in here. I think we've already done this one. This is going to be root 3 over 2. What about sine pi over 6? Well, pi over 6 as in radians in. So I might be thinking, what's going on? But actually, you think, well, pi over 6, pi over 6, it's 180 over 6, which is equal to 30 degrees. So I'm just doing this now, but eventually you'll come to realize these, to know these straight in your head. So actually that's up here, pi over 6. So what I can do here is go, well, that will be opposite of our hypotenuse, that goes 1 over 2. What about tan 45? Okay, well, tan is equal to opposite over adjacent. So 45 degrees in here. Well, that's just going to be 1 over 1. So tan 45 degrees is 1. What about cos pi over 3? So cos pi over 3, so pi over 3 equals 180 over 3, which is equal to 60 degrees. This will be in here. So cos of that, so cos is equal to, let's work it out, let's see, OH, opposite over hypotenuse, sorry, AH, adjacent over hypotenuse, so that will be 1 over 2. 1 over 2. Let's work for any angle. The more you do them, the more practice you get with them, the better it will go. So there you are. If you have any questions, let me know.